You understood everything. You saw behind the masks. You woke up. And yet, something went off. Where you thought you would find burning clarity, you encounter a heavy silence. Motivation evaporates. Old goals seem empty. You don't want to run anymore, but you don't know how to stay yet. You are not alone. And above all, you are not broken. In this video, we explore that mysterious moment after awakening. What Carl Jung called the sacred threshold. The space between what you are no longer and what you are becoming. If you feel this emptiness, this loss of momentum, this uncomfortable peace, subscribe. Because in this space, we speak the truth. We listen to the soul, not to injunctions. And if what you hear here touches you, share it in the comments. Your voice may resonate with someone else's and create a bridge where there was only silence. 1. Silence after the light. It's been a while since anyone described you. An invisible space in books, absent from inspiring speeches. A moment that doesn't feel like a victory, and yet it comes right after what you thought was deliverance. You thought awakening would be bright, burning, like a sacred fire that would pass through you and push you forward. You thought seeing the truth would fill you with new strength, with a meaning so clear that nothing could stop you. But what came was something else. A silence. Immense. Vast. Strangely calm. A silence that is not empty, but that says nothing. A silence that envelops you without explaining it. Everything stopped. The momentum. The noise. The need to prove. Even the voice in your head. The one that counted, analyzed, projected, has fallen silent, and you found yourself there, in a world that continues to turn, while you no longer know which direction to walk in. It's not sad, not really. It's more subtle than that. It is a foreign, almost suspicious peace, as if you had finally left a room that was too noisy, but you didn't yet know what to do with the silence. You look around you, and everything you were chasing yesterday seems meaningless today. The goals, the challenges, the to-do lists. They don't call you anymore. Even your dreams have lost their flavor. And you ask yourself, am I regressing? Am I losing something? Or am I finally touching something real? This is where many panic, because we have learned to confuse movement with progress. It seems that to stagnate is to fail. But maybe this silence is not a pause. Maybe it's a cradle, a space for something invisible, which begins to form below the surface. An echo that cannot be measured by results, but which recognizes itself in the fact of no longer running after the image. You haven't lost your desire. You are letting go of what was wrong. And in this surrender, the soul listens. She feels for the first time without a filter. And that doesn't make any noise. You did not fail. You have reached the edge of doing, the edge of duty, the edge of the character you thought you were meant to embody. And now, all you have left is this silence, not as a punishment, but as an invitation, a blank page, but not an empty page. 2. A sacred face that the world ignores. The world doesn't know what to do with silence. He prefers noise, movement, explanation. He has not learned to recognize the invisible rights, those who produce nothing to show, nothing to sell, nothing to celebrate. So, when you get into that phase, that loss of momentum, this deep and silent demotivation, you are labeled chronic fatigue, mood disorder, depression, or worse, laziness. Because everything that is not productive, everything that does not move forward with the naked eye, is seen as a problem to be solved. But Carl Jung saw something else. He recognized in this inner withdrawal an initiatory threshold, the moment between the fall of the character and the emergence of the soul. You don't go back. You are stripping yourself. You are in transition between two states of consciousness. And this process is radical. Not spectacular, but radical. It does not manifest itself through flashes of light, but by a slow disorientation, a fatigue which is not of the body, but of the soul. You don't want to play the game anymore. You don't even know what it was for anymore. And yet, everything around you screams at you to continue, to pull yourself together, to make an effort. But how to make an effort when your whole being knows that what you were doing before, was it a form of falling asleep? Society is afraid of this moment because it doesn't serve his interests. An individual who stops, who questions, who no longer seeks to perform, is difficult to handle. So she disguises this passage as illness. She worries you. She isolates you. She pushes you to resume your role. But inside, you know, you feel that this withdrawal is not the end. It's a molt. You are between two identities. The old one fell off. The news has no form yet. And in this blurred, uncomfortable, compassless space, something profound is being born. Not an ambition, not a certainty, but one presence. You are not weak. You are in a phase that the world does not understand, because the world does not tolerate slowness, nor the invisible. But the soul is in no hurry. She stretches, she listens, she lets die gently what has been carried for too long. And what you feel now, this loss of motivation, this impression of being without contours, without direction, that's exactly the job. The world tells you that you are extinct. But what he doesn't see, it's that you refuse to rekindle a flame that wasn't yours. You don't want to perform anymore. You want to embody. You don't want to seduce anymore. You want to resonate. And that takes time, silence, and a courage that few dare to recognize, that of no longer lying to one's own fire. Or the fall of old landmarks. The things that made you vibrate yesterday. You look at them now with empty eyes. Your vision board seems ridiculous to you. Your goals seem invented to you. Your future self? You wouldn't even know how to write a line to him anymore. You don't know when it happened. It wasn't an explosion, not a big dramatic no. It was just a slip, an erasure. One morning you woke up, and what motivated you the day before no longer affected you. Neither likes, nor the salary, nor compliments disguised as recognition. The goals you had set, like reassuring beacons on a map, you see them now for what they were. Paths taken to be loved, not to be true. And that's the hardest part. It's not about not knowing what to want anymore. It's realizing that you never wanted the right things. You realize you ran on a road which wasn't even yours. A road marked by expectations, models, conditioning. You wanted to succeed, but succeed at what, really? You wanted to impact the world, but how? You wanted more? But what were you supposed to be full of? There is no map here, nothing to follow, nothing to achieve, just this blurred landscape that surrounds you, this inner void that can no longer be filled by to-do lists. You are between two worlds, the old one, whom you know too well, the world of doing, of showing, of watch me move forward, and the other one who speaks to you in whispers, an inner world, slower, denser, which offers you no guarantees, but disarming honesty. You can't go back. You know it. Even if you try. You find yourself reopening an old project, diving back into it to pretend. And your body responds with a wall. Your energy is failing you. Your heart no longer lies. This is the most confusing part. It's not that you refuse to continue. It's that you can't plus. There is a part of you, the oldest, the most lucid, who refuses to cooperate with the old system. So you wander. Not really in crisis, but not at peace either. You are in this strange zone where even your desires need to be purified, where you no longer have a compass, where north points nowhere, and yet something inside you remains standing,
Not your ambition, not your will, but this little spark, silent, who knows that this fall is not an end.
She is the space left free so that something really yours can finally grow. 4. The emergence of another form of fire. There comes a time when you stop looking. You don't force it anymore. You no longer plan what's coming. You listen. And in this listening, something changes. It's not spectacular. It's almost imperceptible. A shudder, a breath, a gentle tension, like a sleeping muscle waking up. It's there. Something is stirring inside you. Not a goal, not a brilliant idea, not a plan, an impulse, not to succeed, not to impress, just to do, just to be. You don't know why, but your body wants to write, or walk, or touch, or create, or say no, or say finally. There is no strategy, no agenda, but this gesture, this word, this choice, it has consistency. It sounds right. It's a fire, but not the one you knew, not the one who burns to be seen, not the one who devours everything to prove he exists. This fire does not make flames. The gently heats from the inside, like a stable heart, like a glow that doesn't flicker. It doesn't exhaust you. He doesn't take anything away from you. The tea gathers. You start doing things without telling yourself that you must. You find yourself creating without waiting for someone to look at you. You say no without fear. You say yes without explaining yourself. That's it. This fire. He doesn't push you. He grants you. He grants you to yourself, to what you feel, not what you think you should feel, not what you were taught to desire, but what, in your belly, in your chest, in your throat, says yes. You don't want to perform anymore. You want to express, not so we can hear you, but because to keep silent would be treason. You are no longer driven by lack. You are moved by the truth. And sometimes that truth is just stand up, breathe, and feel nothing. There is a calm in this fire, a trust without explanation, a slowness that is not laziness, but precision. This fire is unlike any you have ever seen. He doesn't scream. There does not need to be applauded. It's here, and that's enough. And when you start listening to it, really, you realize that this fire, this gentle, patient, relentless fire, was there from the beginning. He was waiting for you to stop running. He was waiting for your silence. He was waiting for you to open up enough so that he can finally live in you. 5. Individuation, the path to the true self. It's not about becoming a better version of yourself. It's not about achieving something. It's not about being able to be you. It is about to come back to where you already were, before you were told who you were supposed to be, before the roles, before expectations, before the persona you learned to wear to be accepted. Jung called this individuation, a simple word for a gigantic process, an inner alchemy, a journey of disintegration followed by a return, not towards an idealized self, but towards a self integrated. The ego does not disappear. He lines up. You are no longer acting to play a role in a social play. You are no longer the child seeking the world's approval. You no longer need to appear. You just want to be in agreement. And that, paradoxically, does not make you an isolated individual. This makes you someone connected to what is greater than you, but also more true. You don't want to have an impact anymore. You want to embody the truth. And if this truth shines, so much the better. Otherwise, it is enough. Individuation is not the top of the personal development pyramid. It is not a spiritual trophy. It's a descent, a slow, deep descent in the roots of your being. You find your shadows there, your anger, your wounds, your impulses that you have censored for too long. And at the heart of it all, you find a thread, a living,
solid, irreducible thread. You, not a character, not a role, not a concept, but one inner rhythm. You stop chasing clarity. You know her when she comes, often in the form of simplicity, a no that you feel in your stomach, a yes that settles in your chest. And there, without warning, you became you, not by construction, by decluttering. You didn't create your identity. You removed everything that covered it. And that's where things change. You don't need to convince anymore. You don't need to dominate anymore. You don't want to belong anymore. You want live, inhabit your body, your voice, your impulses, and the others are no longer judges. They become witnesses, mirrors sometimes, but never masters. You no longer ask permission to live. You listen, and when it resonates right, you move forward, even if there is no path, even if you are alone. It is no longer a duty. It's obvious. It's no longer, I have to do. It is, I am ready. 6. This is not the end. It is the beginning. If you are here, in this void, in this heavy calm, in this formless space, where everything you thought you were has collapsed. So listen carefully. You are not at the end. You are at the threshold. What you feel is not a fall.
A silent incubation. The old body has split, but the new one has not yet taken its place. You are neither dead nor quite alive. You are between two forms, between two breaths, between the last page and the first one not yet written. And it is here, precisely here, that many abandon. Because emptiness is scary, because emptiness promises nothing, because he does not allow himself to be possessed or controlled. But it is in this void that the true is preparing. Not in comfort, not in immediate clarity, but in this slow mist where every sensation becomes a guide, where every silence becomes language. You are not lost. You are in the making. You are being reformed by forces deeper than your thoughts. There is no more map, just a pulse, a rhythm you don't recognize yet, but who is yours? An ancient beat, long forgotten, and you feel, at times, in a sentence, a gesture, a breath, that there is something that comes back. Not an ambition, not a motivation, but one interior direction, without panel, without GPS, but with a certainty in the bones. You no longer need to know where you are going. You just have to stay with what calls you, even if it's tiny, even if no one understands, even if it doesn't have a name. This is where your real life begins. Not life built to be seen, not the one you plan to get accepted into, but the life that you feel, the life that you embody, a life that doesn't negotiate with lies. This is not a new dream. This is not a project. It's a be. And this being, you can't force it. You just have to give him space. You are molting. You are getting a makeover. You are coming back to the world no longer as a role, but like a presence. And this presence, even if it trembles, even if she doubts, even if she walks barefoot into the unknown, is truer than anything you've been before. This is not the end. This is the commencement. And even if you don't see it yet, even if you can't prove it, even if nothing shines, the new fire is already here. You don't need to run. You don't need to search anymore. You went through the fire, silence, the void. You saw die what you were not, and you slowly feel what you are being born. The path doesn't wait for you outside. It starts where you choose to no longer run away from yourself, where you stay, even when it's blurry, even when it's slow, even when no one is looking. The world wants results. The soul seeks resonance. And you are at the exact place where the old one is silent and the real one begins to speak. Listen, breathe, stay. You're not late.
You are exactly where your inner fire reignites, not to burn the world, but for light it up, gently, from within.